Hello. In this lesson, we're going to look at the standard form of a linear equation, ax plus by plus c equals 0. Now, this form contains three what we call coefficients. These are numbers that are before each of our variables or our constant themselves. So we have our coefficient for a in front of x, b in front of y, and then we also have our coefficient c. Now, ax plus by plus c equals 0, and this is an equation. It is an algebraic form of this. And in this standard form, our ax term is always going to be positive. So whenever we solve an equation into this form, we always have to make sure that the ax term will be positive. And we can also manipulate between our standard form, ax plus by plus c equals 0, and our more common slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. And all we're trying to do here is be able to algebraically move from one form to the other. So let's take a look at a couple of examples. I want to express the following equation in the standard form. So I want to take this y equals 4x plus 6, and I want to put it into the standard form. So first thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to write it out, y equals 4x plus 6. Now what I want to do is I want to get everything kind of on this left-hand side of the equation. So I'm going to have to move everything from here over to here. And so to do that, I have to use my collecting like terms and moving across. So I'm going to first get rid of 6 on my right-hand side. So I'm going to subtract 6 here. Then I'm going to have to go negative 6 plus y over here. Rewrite it. I'm going to have negative 6 plus y equals to 4x, because these guys cancel each other out. Do the same thing. I'm going to move 4x to the other side, so subtract 4x here, then minus 4x here, kind of squeezing it in. Rewrite it, and I have negative 4x minus 6 plus y equals to, well, these guys cancel out. It's 0. So I'm almost done. I almost have it in my kind of standard form. I'm just going to rearrange my y and my minus 6. I can just move them around as long as I keep the signs the same. This is plus y, and minus 6 equals 0. But as I said before, this term has to be positive. So to make this positive, I just have to multiply it by a negative, because two negatives make a positive. So I'm going to multiply this whole term by negative 1. So negative 1 times 4x, or negative 4x, gives me positive, keep it blue, gives me 4x. Negative 1 times positive y gives me negative y. And negative 1 times negative 6 gives me positive 6. So now I have it in my standard form, 4x minus y plus 6 equals 0. So that's how I converted from one side to the other, and I did all algebraically. Key thing to remember is this term right here has to be positive. And when I get to this situation, I just multiply by negative 1, and it gets me there. But remember, whatever I multiply by negative 1, I have to multiply them all by negative 1. So negative 1 times negative 4x, negative 1 times plus y, negative 1 times minus 6. All right. Let's look at another example. Now I want to go backwards. Now I have something in the standard form, 6x plus 5y plus 20 equals 0. And I want to convert it back to our more common slope-intercept form of a linear equation. Because the slope-intercept form actually is a lot easier to graph. We can see the slope and we can see the y-intercept. So generally we would want it in that form if we were going to graph it. So I'm going to convert it. I'm going to take 6x plus 5y plus 20 equals 0. And I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to try and solve just for y, but I'm going to have to move a lot of things over to the other side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move 20 over to the other side by subtracting by 20 on this side. So negative 20 plus 20 is 0. But whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So that becomes negative 20. So I'm left with 6x plus 5y equals negative 20. Just like before, I'm going to get rid of my 6x here. So I got negative 6x plus 6x. Again, negative 6x over here. These guys cancel out. And I'm left with 5y minus 20 minus 6x. But I'm not done. I still have this coefficient here, this b coefficient, which is equal to 5. So to get rid of that, do the opposite. This is 5 times y, so I'll have to divide by 5. But I'll have to divide by 5 on both sides. So whatever I do to one side, have to do the other. 5 over 5 is 1, which is great. That gives me my y value. Negative 20 over 5 is going to be negative 4. And then I'm left with negative 6x over 5. And just to clean it up, I'll put it into my y equals mx plus b form. I'll just rearrange these guys. Y equals negative 6 over 5. That's my slope. X minus 4, which is my y-intercept. And that's how I convert from the standard form to y equals mx plus b form, and vice versa.